Hey guys, it's Drew again. I saw a quote the other day and I thought it was interesting. It says, "Community is a place where connections are made, relationships are built, and support is given." And I was thinking about how that relates to our YouTube community and why this week specifically for me, that's really important to hit home. You want to see what I'm talking about? Well, let's check it out. So I've been thinking a lot about that concept of community and how that relates to us here on YouTube. Whether you're a watcher, a content creator, you make occasional videos or videos all the time, whether you watch just a little bit or a lot of channels or whoever you are, if you're in this community, you are part of this community. Why is this important to me this week? Well, this week marks my 4th year on YouTube. I've made, I don't know, a few hundred videos, but better than that, I've made so many friends, so many relationships, have so many stories, and it's so much more than just the cards. So I wanted to share kind of my journey through this. I don't want to bore you too much, but I just want to document it. So if you're kind of interested about where I came from, if you're a new subscriber or if you've been there from the beginning, I just want to highlight some different things and how community has just changed and evolved me as a collector and as a person in the last 4 years. So when I started my channel, I really wasn't collecting cards much anymore. I'd kind of gotten out of it. I'd lost the zeal for it. They were going so expensive. It was post-COVID. And I was like, you know what? It was kind of something I did in the past, but I lacked that community. I lacked that connection with people. Now, I did have a couple of people, and there was 2 channels in particular that I watched every one of their videos. One, of course, was Jake from Legends Never Die. Although back then he was just a ticket leprechaun, and I kind of still like that moniker. But anyway, Jake and I are good friends, and we talked all the time, and he was the one that kept encouraging me. He's like, "Drew, you just gotta start making videos, just start telling your stories." And I was like, "Man, my collection's not that great. I just didn't know what to show." But Jake really pushed me towards it, and honestly, I'm kind of glad he did, but don't tell him. He kind of gets an ego about that stuff. The second video, actually, Jake introduced me to. He said, "You got to check this guy out. He does all this kind of crazy art, and I really think you'd enjoy him." And I started watching Scott at Reindeer Studios. Well, Scott and I, in the last 4 years, have become really good friends. And of course, he's my best friend like he is yours. But seriously, Scott and I talk offline. We text. We're in text groups. I can't wait to see him in a couple weeks when I come up to Strongsville. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's just because he's become so much closer than just a guy on YouTube that does this amazing artwork with a great way to express himself through YouTube. But what I started doing was, the reason community is so important to me is I'm going to tell a little story about the very first subscriber to my channel that I didn't know. And I didn't know who this person was. So I was like really excited, and I went and I watched one of his videos, and much to my surprise, it's not that he had great videos, although he does. And he's so well loved in the community still. And it was just happenstance that he came across my channel and subscribed. And he was subscriber number 3 because I already had 2 people that I knew. And but what it was that took me right away with him was his accent. He has a very distinct accent. And when I heard it, I knew exactly where he was from. And so I reached out to him with a comment. And I said, "Hey, I love your video, but by any chance, are you from this area?" And he commented back and he said, "Actually, I am." And the reason I knew that accent was because it's the exact same accent that my mom had. My mom passed away in 2008, and it's a very distinct dialect. It's kind of hard to explain. I can't do it, even though I grew up around it. But when I watch a video of his, which comes out every few weeks, I always hear my mom and her accent when he tells his stories. The thing about it is, people say I'm a storyteller. He is a storyteller. He is someone that I would aspire to. He takes emotions and he puts it into his video that just defines exactly what cards do in having a collection. That person is Terry from TJ Maxx Cards, and I'm sure all you guys know him. But Terry sounds just like my mom as far as the accent is concerned. So every time I watch one of his videos, it just brings me back to a kid when I got to hear my mom talk. But anyway, outside of that, that's the community I'm talking about. It brings back a nostalgia from something that we had that we didn't know how to define or describe. So I want to show a couple of cards that I have now because of this community. Not because they were gifts, although well, no, I don't think I'm showing any gifts, but because of different things of people looking out for them or introducing me to them, or a video that I watched and I never heard of this set or realized this is why I needed this thing. just getting kind of rapid fire here. But the first thing I want to do is, I already mentioned Scott. Well, this is one of my favorite pieces in my room, and it is not it's not a card, but whatsoever. But it was very early on. In fact, it was the second episode of his search for the Holy Grail when he was trying to get his T206 Cy Young, and he did this drawing for me. And I remember we didn't have each other's numbers yet. We were just communicating via email, but he did this amazing charcoal drawing of my guy, Pee Wee Reese. And this is hanging on my wall. Well, not right now, but normally it's hanging on my wall, and I love it. It's so detailed, it's so perfect. And if you haven't seen this, go back and watch his series and go all the way back, episode number 2, and you'll see him drawing that Pee Wee Reese before I even had a channel. So anyway, but outside of that, there's things along that I've gotten along the way. So I've met a friend through a friend that we now text all the time, talk all the time, and because of him, he actually commissioned a piece from me to make a woodworking thing, and he paid me for it, which I did appreciate. But then I went to a card show and I picked up this 1955 Jackie Robinson with the funds that he had given me for making this case for him. I made a big display case for him. But not only that, I had a little money left over because I got such a good deal on it, and I came across this. And this is where this community thing comes involved. But I found this amazing Brooklyn Dodgers vintage 1940s pennant, and I love this thing. It's the only pennant I own. But when I found this, I was like, oh my gosh. And what I did was I texted somebody who I've never met and said, he knows a lot more about Dodgers, especially pennants. And I said, what do you think of this? He said, it looks great. This is about what you should pay. It was perfect, and I got it. That's community. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to show you a couple of other cards. I've told these stories over and over and over again, but still, the only national I've ever been to, when I went in, I was walking around with somebody I met from the community. I picked him up that morning at the airport. He's walking around with me, and he helped me find this beautiful Ted Williams from 1949 Leaf. And I love this card. And I love it not just because it's a great card and great condition and all the story. It's because I was standing next to somebody who was so excited for me when he found this. But not only that, later in the week, he sold me this card, the only one I've ever had, probably the only one I ever will. It's a beautiful Cracker Jack card of Bert Shotton, which is another story that I make a connection. That's community. It's community that he would be able to find that or give this to me, not give it to me, but sell it to me at such a great price. And it's just such a prized possession. That same day, I was walking around, and you guys know these stories because I've told them 100 times, but I was with a friend through this community, introduced me to a set that I'd never heard of, and found the Great Search for one of the best cards I own. It's one of my favorites. In fact, normally it's sitting right here, right in front of that magazine in any other video, but I have it down. You guys probably know what it is if you watch my channel, but it's the 1952 Coke Tips Pee Wee Reese card, and look at that thing. It's not only that I was introduced with this card from somebody in the community, it's the fact that I kept looking and looking, and I had guys out there looking at shows, people I had met through this community looking for this card, and I finally get a text one morning on a Saturday morning from Sammy Thunder and says, hey, just so you know, that Coke Tips is up in an auction coming up. And sure enough, I went and I won it. And there it is. And it's one of my favorites, absolute favorite cards in my entire collection. And it all reminds me of the community that that was started here 4 years ago. Another one is, this is when I first found out about this set, which is my oldest card. And it's an 1888 Tobacco Scraps, although it's not a tobacco card, great card. And somebody else through the community found this on a Facebook, I think, and knew I was looking for it, and reached out to me and said, hey, and I ended up getting it and love that card as well. So that's the thing, is there's so much community that's involved, and I'm just so blessed. I'm so honored to be part of that, and I've tried to encourage people. One of my biggest moments that I remember, what I've never shared, and it's just between me and this other person, but I'm gonna tell the story here anyway. It just fills me with a weird kind of pride for this. But I got a text, I don't know, 6 months ago from somebody who I met 4 years ago when he was just in middle school. Now he's in high school. That was Jack from Cracker Jack Cards. Jack, I hope you continue making videos. But through talking to him, and I got to know him a little bit, I got to know his dad a little bit through some phone calls and some texts. And Jack started taking wood shop at high school, and he made his first project. And you know what he did? He took a picture of the table he made, and he sent it to me. He said, Drew, check this out. It's my first real woodworking project. I was so proud of them just for getting in there and doing this thing. It was an awesome thing. That's community. So I'm going to encourage you, if you are part of this community, reach out to the people that that talk to you. Try to get their phone numbers. Find out more about their life. Almost every Saturday, I have a conversation early in the morning, just because I know that another friend of mine is up, and I met him through this community. I can't wait to meet, or I have met him in person, but to see him again in a few weeks. There's so much community that goes on within this YouTube. If you're just a watcher and you don't want to make videos, it's okay. I'm not going to push you to make a video, but what I am going to do is do more than watch. Don't just intake this stuff and say, oh, I like this guy, or I don't like that guy, or what that card, or anything. That's kind of okay, but get a little deeper in the surface, because you'll find that the community, the love, the compassion that I have experienced over the last 4 years, there's more than enough of it out there for you too. So anyway, I just wanted to share some cards, share some stories, share a little highlight, and share a little memories of my 4-year journey here on YouTube. So I appreciate you coming along as always, and until next time, you guys be good.